Tonight, as the day slowly fades behind you, allow yourself to settle into a place of quiet rest. Let your body relax, let your breathing become slow and steady, and let your thoughts drift away from the demands of the day. There is nothing you need to accomplish right now. There is nowhere else you need to be. This moment is a gift, a gentle invitation to rest in the presence of God. Perhaps you have come here carrying concerns that have followed you throughout the day. Maybe there are questions that remain unanswered, burdens that feel heavy, or emotions that seem difficult to put into words. If that is true, know that you do not have to carry everything alone tonight. God sees every hidden struggle. He understands every unspoken concern. He knows every detail of your story, and His love for you remains constant. As you prepare for sleep, remember that Jesus is near. His presence is not limited by distance or circumstance. He is with you in moments of joy, and He is with you in moments of weakness. He is present when life feels clear, and He remains faithful when life feels uncertain. Tonight, let that simple truth settle gently into your heart. Jesus is with you. Take a slow breath in. Hold it for a moment. Then release it softly. As you breathe out, imagine letting go of tension. Let go of the need to solve tomorrow's problems tonight. Let go of the pressure to have everything figured out. Let go of every expectation that has weighed heavily upon your shoulders. God never asked you to carry the future alone. He simply invites you to trust Him one step at a time. The world often tells us that peace comes when everything is under control. Yet many of us have discovered that life rarely stays under our control for very long. Plans change. Circumstances shift. Unexpected challenges appear. But the peace Jesus offers is different. It is not built upon perfect circumstances. It is built upon His unchanging presence. Tonight, let your heart rest in that truth. Imagine yourself walking along a quiet path beneath a sky painted with the soft colors of evening. The air is cool and gentle. The noise of the world grows distant with every step. Ahead of you rises a peaceful hillside. The grass moves softly in the breeze. Small flowers sway gently among the green fields. Everything feels calm, safe, and still. As you continue walking, you notice a gathering of people resting along the hillside. Their faces are attentive. Their hearts are open. They have come to listen to Jesus. You find a comfortable place to sit among them. The ground beneath you feels soft. The evening air feels refreshing. A sense of calm begins to settle over your spirit. Jesus is teaching from the hillside. His voice is gentle. His words are filled with grace. He is not speaking with harshness or condemnation. He speaks with compassion, understanding, and love. As you listen, you realize something beautiful. Although many people are gathered there, his words seem to reach each heart individually. Every person feels seen. Every person feels understood. That is often how God speaks to us. He speaks through His Word. He speaks through moments of quiet reflection. He speaks through gentle reminders of His faithfulness. He speaks through peace that settles into our hearts when we choose to trust Him. Tonight, perhaps you need that reminder. You are seen. You are known. You are loved. There may have been moments when you felt forgotten by others. There may have been seasons when you wondered if anyone truly understood what you were carrying. But God understands completely. He sees the struggles you never discuss. He sees the tears no one else notices. He sees the fears you try to hide. And He remains near. Sometimes the greatest comfort comes not from receiving immediate answers, but from knowing that we do not walk through life alone. Jesus understands sorrow. He understands disappointment. He understands grief. He understands loneliness. Because He entered our world, He experienced the realities of human life. He understands what it means to feel weary. He understands what it means to face suffering. Because of this, His compassion is real and personal. Perhaps tonight you are carrying a burden that has followed you for weeks, months, or even years. Maybe it is a relationship that has become difficult. Maybe it is concern for someone you love. Maybe it is disappointment over something that did not happen the way you hoped. Whatever burden you carry, bring it gently before God tonight. You do not need perfect words. You do not need impressive prayers. You only need an open heart. God already knows. As the evening grows quieter, imagine the breeze moving softly across the hillside. The sounds around you become peaceful and distant. The atmosphere feels safe. Jesus continues speaking. His words are filled with hope. His words remind people that God's love remains steady through every season of life. Some seasons are bright and joyful. Some seasons are difficult and uncertain. Yet through them all, God remains faithful. Think back over your life for a moment. There have likely been challenges you once thought you would never overcome. There may have been nights when you wondered how things would work out. There may have been days when you felt overwhelmed by uncertainty. Yet here you are. God carried you through moments you once thought were impossible. His faithfulness brought you this far. And His faithfulness will continue to guide you. Sometimes we focus so much on what is still unfinished that we forget how much God has already done. Tonight, allow gratitude to gently fill your heart. Thank Him for every prayer He has answered. Thank Him for every protection you never even knew about. Thank Him for every moment of strength He provided when your own strength felt insufficient. Thank Him for His presence. Thank Him for His mercy. Thank Him for His love. As you rest here beside the hillside, notice how peaceful everything feels. The sky slowly darkens. The stars begin appearing overhead. The air feels calm and refreshing. There is no rush. There is no pressure. Only peace. Jesus invites weary hearts to find rest in Him. That invitation remains open tonight. You do not have to earn His love. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to carry every burden by yourself. You are already deeply loved. You are already deeply valued. You are already known by God. Perhaps one of the most comforting truths is that God's love is not based on our performance. His love does not disappear when we make mistakes. His love does not fade when we experience weakness. His love remains steady. Even when we struggle. Even when we doubt. Even when we feel exhausted. His love remains. Let that truth settle into your heart tonight. Allow yourself to rest in the certainty that Jesus is near. As you continue listening, imagine His gentle presence surrounding you with peace. The worries of the day grow quieter. The noise of the world begins to fade. The concerns that seemed so large earlier now rest safely in God's hands. You do not have to carry them tonight. God is watching over you. God is caring for you. God is holding your future. And because of that, you can rest. Take another slow breath. Feel your body becoming heavier with relaxation. Feel your mind becoming calmer. Feel your heart becoming lighter. You are safe in God's care. You are surrounded by His love. You are held by His grace. Tonight, let Jesus speak peace into your heart. Let His presence calm every anxious thought. Let His love quiet every fear. Let His faithfulness remind you that tomorrow is already in His hands. As the night continues and sleep draws closer, may your soul find comfort in knowing that God remains near. He is with you in this moment. He will be with you through the night. And when a new day begins, His mercy will be waiting for you once again. Rest now, dear friend. Rest in God's goodness. Rest in God's faithfulness. Rest in God's peace. And as you close your eyes tonight, remember this simple truth. You are not alone. Jesus is near. And His peace is with you. As you remain seated on the peaceful hillside, allow yourself to become even more relaxed. The gentle evening breeze moves across the landscape. The air feels fresh and clean. The sounds around you seem softer now, as if creation itself is settling into rest. Above you, the sky grows deeper with shades of blue. The first stars begin to appear. Their quiet light reminds you that even when darkness arrives, light is never completely absent. In many ways, life can feel like that. There are seasons when everything seems bright and clear. There are other seasons when questions linger longer than expected. There are moments when we cannot see the road ahead. Yet even in those moments, God remains present. His light continues shining. His love continues surrounding us. His faithfulness continues carrying us forward. As you sit quietly, listening to the words of Jesus, you begin to notice something important. The people gathered around him come from different backgrounds. Some carry visible burdens. Others carry hidden struggles. Some are hopeful. Some are weary. Some are searching for answers. Yet Jesus welcomes them all. No one is turned away. No one is ignored. No one is forgotten. The same is true tonight. No matter what your story looks like, you are welcome in His presence. Whether your faith feels strong or weak, whether your heart feels joyful or broken, whether your future feels clear or uncertain, Jesus welcomes you. Many people spend years searching for peace in places that cannot truly satisfy the soul. They chase success. They pursue approval. They seek security in things that constantly change. Yet even after reaching those goals, many discover that deep peace remains elusive. The reason is simple. The human heart was created for something greater. We were created to know God. We were created to walk with Him. We were created to experience His love. Nothing else can fully replace that connection. Perhaps there have been times when you felt restless without understanding why. Perhaps everything looked fine on the outside, yet something still felt incomplete. Many people experience that feeling. Sometimes it is the soul quietly longing for the presence of God. Tonight, you do not need to strive. You do not need to chase. You do not need to prove anything. Simply rest. Allow God's presence to meet you exactly where you are. The beautiful thing about Jesus is that He often meets people in ordinary moments. A fisherman beside the sea. A traveler on a dusty road. A woman drawing water from a well. A tired person seeking rest at the end of a long day. Again and again, we see His compassion reaching people where they are. And tonight, He meets you here. Not because you have done everything perfectly. Not because you have earned His attention. But because His love is greater than your imperfections. As these thoughts settle into your heart, imagine looking across the hillside once more. The crowd listens carefully. The atmosphere feels peaceful. There is no tension. No competition. No pressure. Only the gentle voice of Jesus teaching about God's kingdom. His words are different from the voices of the world. The world often says you must be stronger. Jesus offers rest. The world often says you must prove yourself. Jesus offers grace. The world often says you must carry everything alone. Jesus offers companionship. How many burdens have you carried that were never meant to be carried alone? How many worries have you held tightly because you believed everything depended on you? How many nights have you stayed awake trying to solve problems that only God could truly resolve? Tonight is an opportunity to release those burdens. Not because the problems instantly disappear, but because God is greater than every problem. Imagine placing every concern into His hands. Your fears, your disappointments, your uncertainties, your unanswered questions. One by one, release them. God is strong enough to hold what feels too heavy for you. Sometimes we imagine faith means never feeling afraid. But throughout Scripture we see faithful people experiencing fear, uncertainty, and weakness. What made the difference was not the absence of struggle. It was the presence of God. The same remains true today. You do not need to pretend that everything is perfect. You do not need to hide your concerns from God. You can bring your whole heart to Him. Your hopes, your doubts, your joys, your tears, your victories, your failures. He already knows. And He still loves you completely. That truth has comforted countless believers throughout history. When circumstances changed, God remained constant. When nations rose and fell, God remained faithful. When storms came and went, God remained present. And tonight, as you prepare for sleep, that same faithfulness surrounds you. Think about how many times God has provided exactly what you needed at the right moment. Perhaps not always what you expected. Perhaps not always according to your timeline. Yet somehow, His provision arrived. Looking back, you may see moments when doors opened unexpectedly. You may remember people who appeared at just the right time. You may recall answers that arrived after long seasons of waiting. These moments remind us that God is always working, even when we cannot see the full picture. Many times His work happens quietly, like seeds growing beneath the soil, like dawn slowly approaching before sunrise, like healing that takes place little by little. God is often working in ways we cannot immediately recognize. That is why trust becomes so important. Trust allows us to rest while God continues His work. Trust allows us to sleep while God watches over us. Trust allows us to release control and embrace peace. As you continue resting on the hillside, notice how calm everything feels. The stars shine brighter now. The evening air remains gentle. The world feels peaceful and still. This calm scene reflects something beautiful about God's character. He is not the author of confusion. He is a God of peace, a God of order, a God of faithfulness, a God of compassion. When Jesus spoke to weary people, he often brought peace before anything else. His presence alone changed the atmosphere. Fear began to fade. Hope began to grow. Faith began to awaken. Tonight, allow His presence to do the same within you. Let peace replace anxiety. Let hope replace discouragement. Let trust replace fear. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because Jesus remains near. There is tremendous comfort in knowing that God sees the entire journey while we only see a small portion. We often focus on today's challenge. God sees tomorrow's breakthrough. We focus on today's uncertainty. God sees tomorrow's opportunity. We focus on today's struggle. God sees the complete story. Because of this, we can rest. We do not need all the answers tonight. We simply need to know the one who holds the answers. As you breathe slowly and deeply, imagine yourself resting safely beneath God's care. Like a child resting securely in a loving home. Like a traveler finding shelter after a long journey. Like a weary soul finally finding peace. You are safe with Him. Nothing about your life escapes His attention. Nothing about your future surprises Him. Nothing about your situation exceeds His power. God knows. God sees. God cares. And because He cares, you can release your worries into His hands. The night grows quieter. Your body becomes more relaxed. Your mind becomes calmer. Your heart becomes lighter. Jesus remains near. His peace surrounds you. His love holds you. His faithfulness watches over you. As sleep slowly approaches, allow these truths to settle deeply into your spirit. You are loved beyond measure. You are seen completely. You are never forgotten. You are never abandoned. And no matter what tomorrow brings, God's presence will go before you. Rest now in that promise. Let your breathing remain slow and peaceful. Let your thoughts become quiet. Let your heart find rest. For tonight, you are safely held in the loving care of God. The evening has now settled fully around the hillside. The last traces of daylight have faded beyond the horizon, and above you stretches a sky filled with countless stars. Their quiet glow seems to remind you that even in the darkest hours, God continues to shine His light. You remain seated among the crowd listening to Jesus. Everything feels calm. Everything feels safe. The worries that once demanded your attention seem much quieter now. The rush of the day has faded. The pressure to figure everything out has been replaced by a growing sense of peace. As you listen to the gentle voice of Jesus, your thoughts begin to slow. You remember how often life moves at a pace that leaves little room for rest. There are responsibilities to manage, decisions to make, people to care for, challenges to face. Sometimes it can feel as though the weight of the world is resting on your shoulders. Yet tonight, Jesus gently reminds you that you were never created to carry every burden alone. God never intended for His children to live under constant pressure and fear. He invites them into trust. He invites them into peace. He invites them into rest. Perhaps one of the greatest gifts God offers is the reminder that His strength is greater than our weakness. Many people spend years trying to appear strong. They hide their fears. They conceal their struggles. They pretend everything is fine even when their hearts feel exhausted. But God already sees beneath the surface. He sees the hidden concerns. He sees the silent tears. He sees the moments when no one else understands. And rather than turning away, He draws near. This is one of the most beautiful truths about Jesus. He is never intimidated by our weakness. He is never surprised by our struggles. He is never discouraged by our imperfections. Instead, He offers grace. Again and again, He offers grace. Imagine yourself sitting quietly as Jesus looks across the hillside. His eyes are filled with compassion. His voice carries both authority and kindness. Every word He speaks seems to settle deeply into the hearts of those listening. You realize that many people around you have come carrying their own burdens. Some are grieving losses. Some are worried about the future. Some are carrying regrets from the past. Some are searching for hope. Yet they all remain there listening. Why? Because something about Jesus brings peace. His presence offers what the world cannot provide. His words reach places deep within the human heart. His love speaks to wounds that no one else can see. And tonight, His peace is available to you as well. As you continue resting on the hillside, think about the many ways God has shown His goodness throughout your life. Not only through the major events, not only through dramatic answers to prayer, but also through countless small blessings. The breath in your lungs, the roof above your head, the people who care about you, the opportunities you have received, the strength that carried you through difficult seasons, the mercy that greeted you every morning. Sometimes we become so focused on what is missing that we overlook what God has already provided. Yet gratitude has a remarkable way of bringing peace to the heart. When we pause to notice God's blessings, our perspective begins to change. Our fears lose some of their power. Our worries become smaller. Our faith grows stronger. Tonight, take a moment to quietly thank God. Thank Him for the blessings you recognize. Thank Him for the blessings you may not even be aware of. Thank Him for the ways He has protected you. Thank Him for the ways He has guided you. Thank Him for the ways He continues to care for you. As these thoughts settle into your heart, you notice the gentle breeze moving through the grass once again. The sound is soft and calming. The entire hillside seems wrapped in peace. You begin to understand something important. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of life's challenges. There may still be unanswered questions. There may still be situations that need time to unfold. There may still be concerns waiting for tomorrow. Yet tonight, you do not need to carry them. God is already holding them. How many times have you worried about something that never happened? How many hours have been spent imagining worst-case scenarios that never became reality? How many sleepless nights were filled with fears that eventually disappeared? The human mind often drifts toward uncertainty. But faith gently guides us back toward trust. Faith reminds us that God remains in control even when life feels uncertain. Faith reminds us that His plans are greater than our understanding. Faith reminds us that His love never changes. Jesus understood this better than anyone. Throughout His earthly ministry, He continually invited people to trust God. Not because life would become free from challenges, but because God's presence would remain with them through every challenge. That same invitation remains open tonight. Trust Him with your future. Trust Him with your family. Trust Him with your health. Trust Him with your dreams. Trust Him with your fears. Trust Him with the things you cannot control. The more you place into His hands, the lighter your heart becomes. As the stars continue shining overhead, imagine the entire hillside growing quieter. The crowd remains peaceful. The atmosphere feels sacred. The words of Jesus continue echoing gently within your spirit. You are reminded that God's love is not based on circumstances. His love does not increase when life goes well. His love does not decrease when life becomes difficult. His love remains steady. Always. This truth has comforted believers for generations. Kings have relied on it. Shepherds have relied on it. Parents have relied on it. Children have relied on it. People facing great victories and people facing great hardships have found strength in the same promise. God's love remains. Tonight, that promise belongs to you as well. No matter what happened today. No matter what happened yesterday. No matter what tomorrow may bring. God's love remains. As your body becomes more relaxed, notice how peaceful your breathing feels. Slow. Steady. Calm. Each breath becomes a reminder of God's faithfulness. With every breath, release another worry. With every breath, release another fear. With every breath, receive a little more peace. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow your thoughts to slow. Allow your heart to rest. There is nothing you need to solve right now. Nothing you need to prove. Nothing you need to carry alone. God is with you. Jesus is near. His peace surrounds you. As sleep draws closer, imagine yourself resting safely beneath God's loving care. Like a traveler finding shelter after a long journey. Like a child resting securely in the arms of a loving Father. Like a weary soul finally discovering a place of peace. You are safe. You are loved. You are known. You are cared for. The night belongs to God just as much as the day. While you sleep, He remains awake. While you rest, He continues working. While you release control, He continues guiding your life with wisdom and love. You do not need to fear the night. You do not need to fear tomorrow. You do not need to fear the unknown. God is already there. Before tomorrow arrives, He is already present. Before the next challenge appears, He already knows. Before the next blessing unfolds, He has already prepared the way. And because of that, you can rest. You can breathe. You can trust. You can sleep in peace. Tonight, let Jesus speak peace into every corner of your heart. Let His love quiet every anxious thought. Let His presence bring comfort to every burden. Let His faithfulness remind you that you are never alone. As your eyes grow heavy and your body settles into rest, may your soul find comfort in the goodness of God. May His peace cover you. May His love surround you. May His presence remain with you throughout the night. And when morning comes, may you awaken with renewed hope, renewed strength, and renewed confidence in the One who never leaves your side. For now, rest peacefully. Rest deeply. Rest confidently. Jesus is near. God is watching over you. And you are safely held in His everlasting love. As the peaceful evening continues, remain for a little while longer on the hillside where Jesus teaches. The night air feels gentle against your skin. The stars above seem brighter now, scattered across the heavens like countless reminders of God's faithfulness. You feel safe here. You feel calm. You feel free from the noise that often fills daily life. The voice of Jesus continues to settle deeply into your heart. His words carry a peace unlike anything the world can offer. They are not rushed. They are not demanding. They simply invite you to rest in the goodness of God. Tonight, as you continue this journey of quiet reflection, allow yourself to think about the many ways God has cared for you throughout your life. Sometimes His blessings arrive in obvious ways. Sometimes they arrive so quietly that we almost miss them. A kind conversation, an unexpected opportunity, a moment of strength during a difficult season, a prayer answered in a way we never expected, a door opening at exactly the right time. These gifts often appear ordinary at first, yet when we look back, we can see God's fingerprints all over them. Perhaps there have been moments when you wondered if God was listening. Moments when prayers seemed to go unanswered. Moments when the road ahead looked uncertain. Yet somehow, step by step, He continued guiding you forward. You may not have understood it at the time. You may not have seen the entire picture. But looking back now, you can recognize His faithfulness. God has a way of working quietly behind the scenes. While we worry, He is working. While we wait, He is working. While we sleep, He is working. Even when nothing seems to be changing, God remains active in ways we cannot always see. This truth has brought comfort to countless believers through the centuries. It reminds us that our lives are not held together by our own strength alone. They are held together by the faithful hands of God. As you sit peacefully on the hillside, imagine Jesus looking across the crowd. Many of the people gathered there have experienced hardship. Some have known loss. Some have experienced disappointment. Some carry concerns about their families. Others wonder what tomorrow may bring. Yet Jesus does not begin by focusing on their problems. Instead, He points them toward God's blessings. This is important, because sometimes our struggles become so large in our minds that they block our view of God's goodness. We begin to focus only on what is missing, only on what is difficult, only on what remains uncertain. But Jesus gently helps people see beyond their current circumstances. He reminds them that God's blessings are still present. Tonight, perhaps you need that reminder as well. Even in difficult seasons, blessings remain. The gift of another day. The gift of breath. The gift of grace. The gift of hope. The gift of God's presence. The gift of knowing that you are loved. These blessings cannot always be measured by material things. Some of the greatest gifts God gives are the ones we cannot see. Peace during uncertainty. Strength during weakness. Comfort during sorrow. wisdom during confusion, hope during darkness. These are treasures that remain valuable in every season of life. As you reflect on these truths, notice how your heart begins to grow lighter. Gratitude as a way of changing the atmosphere within us. It does not erase every challenge. It does not remove every problem. But it helps us see life through a different lens. A lens shaped by faith instead of fear. A lens shaped by trust instead of anxiety. A lens shaped by hope instead of discouragement. Imagine for a moment that you are carrying a heavy backpack filled with worries. Each concern adds more weight. Each fear makes the burden heavier. Each unanswered question adds another stone. The weight becomes exhausting. Now imagine placing that burden down beside you. Not because the challenges no longer exist, but because you are choosing to place them into God's hands. You were never meant to carry everything alone. Jesus invites you to bring your burdens to Him. Your worries, your disappointments, your fears, your frustrations, your uncertainties, every one of them. And in return, He offers peace. Not temporary peace. Not fragile peace. But a deep peace that remains even when circumstances are difficult. As the gentle breeze continues moving across the hillside, you remember how often God has provided for you. There were times when you did not know how things would work out. Yet somehow they did. There were moments when resources seemed limited. Yet somehow your needs were met. There were seasons when your strength felt small. Yet somehow you found enough strength to keep going. Looking back, it becomes clear that God's provision has followed you throughout your journey. Perhaps not always in the way you expected. Perhaps not always according to your preferred timeline. But His provision was there. Again and again. This is one of the reasons gratitude is so powerful. It reminds us of what God has already done. And when we remember His faithfulness in the past, it becomes easier to trust Him with the future. The same God who carried you through yesterday is with you tonight. The same God who guided you through previous challenges will guide you through future ones. The same God who has shown mercy before will continue showing mercy tomorrow. His character does not change. His love does not change. His faithfulness does not change. As the stars shine quietly above, allow that truth to settle deeply into your spirit. God remains faithful. When circumstances change, God remains faithful. When emotions fluctuate, God remains faithful. When answers seem delayed, God remains faithful. When life feels uncertain, God remains faithful. His consistency becomes an anchor for the soul. Many people spend their lives searching for something dependable, something stable, something lasting. The beautiful truth of the gospel is that God Himself becomes that foundation. Not temporary success. Not human approval. Not changing circumstances. God. His goodness remains. His promises remain. His love remains. As you continue resting on the hillside, notice how peaceful everything feels. The crowd remains quiet. The night remains calm. The words of Jesus continue bringing comfort. You begin to understand why so many people were drawn to Him. He offered something deeper than temporary relief. He offered hope. Real hope. Hope rooted in God's kingdom. Hope rooted in God's promises. Hope rooted in God's unchanging love. That hope is available to you tonight. No matter what challenges you face. No matter what questions remain unanswered. No matter what burdens you have carried. Hope remains. Because Jesus remains. As sleep slowly approaches, allow your breathing to become even slower. Allow your muscles to relax. Allow your thoughts to settle. God is caring for you. God is watching over you. God is guiding your future. You do not need to carry tomorrow tonight. You do not need to solve every problem before you sleep. You do not need to understand everything before you rest. Simply trust. Simply breathe. Simply rest in God's faithful love. The stars continue shining overhead. The hillside remains peaceful. Jesus remains near. And your heart grows quieter with every passing moment. Tonight, let gratitude fill your soul. Let faith strengthen your heart. Let peace calm your mind. And let the goodness of God remind you that you are deeply loved, completely known, and faithfully cared for by the one who never leaves your side. The night continues peacefully around you. The hillside has become quiet and still. The cool air feels refreshing, and the stars above seem endless. Everything around you invites your heart to slow down. There is something beautiful about moments like these. Moments when the world grows quiet. Moments when the demands of life fade into the background. Moments when the soul has an opportunity to remember what truly matters. As you sit here listening to the gentle teachings of Jesus, you begin to notice how often people spend their lives searching for security. We all want something dependable. Something that will not disappear when circumstances change. Something that remains steady when life feels uncertain. Many people place their hope in things that seem strong for a season. Money, success, achievements, the approval of others. Yet all of these things can change unexpectedly. What feels secure today may be gone tomorrow. What feels permanent today may eventually fade away. This is why the words of Jesus continue bringing comfort generation after generation. He points people toward something greater. He points them toward God, the one whose faithfulness never changes, the one whose love never fails, the one whose promises remain true through every season of life. As you reflect on this truth, imagine looking up at the stars above the hillside. Many of those stars have shined for thousands of years. Generations have looked upon them. Kings have seen them. Shepherds have seen them. Children have seen them. Yet even the stars are temporary compared to the eternal nature of God. Before the stars existed, God was there. Before the mountains rose from the earth, God was there. Before your story began, God was there. And long after today's worries have passed away, God will remain. There is tremendous comfort in that reality. You do not have to build your life upon things that constantly change. You can build your life upon the faithfulness of God. The same God who guided Abraham. The same God who strengthened David. The same God who comforted countless believers throughout history. The same God who walks beside you tonight. As these thoughts settle into your heart, allow yourself to remember some of the seasons God has already brought you through. Perhaps there were moments when you felt completely overwhelmed. Moments when you thought you could not take another step. Moments when the future looked unclear. Yet somehow you continued moving forward. Not because you possessed unlimited strength, but because God supplied strength when you needed it. Many times we do not fully recognize God's help until we look back. In the middle of a storm, it is often difficult to see how He is working. But later, when we reflect upon the journey, we begin to notice His fingerprints everywhere. A door that opened unexpectedly. A conversation that arrived at the perfect moment. A decision that protected us from unseen trouble. A blessing we never anticipated. A lesson that helped us grow. God is often working in ways far beyond what we can see. This realization allows us to trust Him more deeply. If He has been faithful before, He will remain faithful again. If He carried you through previous challenges, He can carry you through future ones. If He provided yesterday, He can provide tomorrow. Faith grows stronger when we remember God's goodness. That is why gratitude becomes such a powerful part of spiritual rest. Gratitude shifts our focus. Instead of concentrating only on what is lacking, we begin noticing what God has already provided. Instead of dwelling only on uncertainty, we begin recognizing His faithfulness. Instead of being consumed by fear, we begin remembering His promises. Tonight, perhaps there are blessings you have not noticed recently. The simple gift of being alive. The gift of another evening. The ability to breathe. The ability to rest. the opportunity to hear words of hope, the people who have shown kindness throughout your life, the countless mercies that have quietly surrounded your journey. Every one of these is evidence of God's care. As the gentle breeze continues moving through the grass, imagine yourself placing your attention on God's goodness rather than your fears. Notice how your heart begins to feel lighter. Notice how your thoughts become calmer. Notice how hope begins to grow. Fear and gratitude rarely grow together. The more gratitude fills the heart, the less room fear has to remain. This does not mean challenges disappear. It simply means that God's presence becomes greater in your awareness than the challenges themselves. Jesus understood this well. Again and again, he encouraged people to focus on God's faithfulness. He reminded them that their Heavenly Father knew their needs. He reminded them that they were valuable. He reminded them that God cared deeply about their lives. Those same reminders are meant for you tonight. You matter to God. Your life matters to God. Your concerns matter to God. Your future matters to God. Sometimes people imagine that God only cares about major events. But Scripture reveals a God who cares about every detail. A God who notices the sparrow. A God who counts the hairs on our heads. A God who listens when his children pray. A God who draws near when hearts are troubled. This is not the distant love of a stranger. This is the personal love of a caring Father. As you sit quietly beneath the stars, allow that truth to sink deeply into your soul. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not facing life alone. God knows your name. God knows your story. God knows every chapter of your journey. And He continues walking beside you. Perhaps there are things about the future that concern you. Many people carry worries about tomorrow. Questions about health. Questions about finances. Questions about relationships. Questions about decisions that still need to be made. These concerns are understandable. Yet Jesus continually invited people away from fear and toward trust. Not because the future was guaranteed to be easy, but because God would remain present in every moment. The future is unknown to us, but it is not unknown to God. Tomorrow is already in His hands. Next week is already in His hands. The years ahead are already in His hands. And the one holding your future is good. The one holding your future is loving. The one holding your future is faithful. That truth allows the heart to rest. You do not need to know everything. You do not need to control everything. You do not need to carry everything. God is already carrying what feels too heavy for you. As the night grows deeper, your body becomes more relaxed. Your breathing becomes slower. Your thoughts become quieter. The hillside remains peaceful. The stars continue shining. The voice of Jesus continues bringing comfort. And deep within your heart, a sense of trust begins growing stronger. God has been faithful. God is faithful. God will remain faithful. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in that simple truth. Let every anxious thought drift away. Let every burden become lighter. Let every fear lose its grip. Jesus is near. God is watching over you. His love surrounds you. His peace fills this moment. And as sleep slowly approaches, may your heart find complete rest in the goodness and faithfulness of God. The peaceful night continues around you. The hillside is wrapped in silence, and the stars above shine with a steady beauty that seems untouched by the worries of the world. Everything feels calm. Everything feels still. You remain there listening, resting, breathing slowly, allowing the peace of God's presence to settle even deeper into your heart. There is something remarkable about slowing down. Most days move so quickly. One responsibility follows another. One task leads to the next. The mind rarely has an opportunity to become quiet. Yet moments like this remind us that our souls need rest just as much as our bodies do. God never designed people to live in a constant state of worry. He never intended for His children to spend every waking moment carrying anxiety about the future. Again and again throughout Scripture, God invites His people into rest. Not because life is free from challenges, but because His presence is greater than every challenge. As you sit beneath the evening sky, think about how often God has been patient with you. Even during seasons when your faith felt weak. Even during moments when fear seemed stronger than confidence. Even during times when you struggled to understand His plan. God remained patient. His love remained steady. His grace remained available. Many people mistakenly believe they must earn God's affection. They feel they need to become stronger before approaching Him. They think they must solve all their problems before they can experience peace. But the invitation of Jesus is different. He welcomes people exactly where they are. The tired. The discouraged. The uncertain. The hurting. The weary. His invitation remains open. Come and find rest. Tonight, perhaps that invitation is meant especially for you. You do not need to have every answer. You do not need to have perfect faith. You do not need to understand every detail of your journey. You only need to trust the one who does. As these thoughts settle into your heart, imagine the gentle voice of Jesus continuing across the hillside. His words carry kindness. His words carry truth. His words carry hope. There is no fear in his voice, no condemnation, no pressure, only the steady assurance that God is near. This is one reason so many people were drawn to Jesus. He offered something the world could not provide. He offered peace for troubled hearts. He offered hope for weary souls. He offered comfort for those carrying heavy burdens. That same comfort remains available today, because Jesus has not changed. The same compassion that touched lives long ago continues touching lives now. The same love that welcomed the broken continues welcoming people today. The same grace that restored the weary continues restoring hearts tonight. As the stars continue shining overhead, consider how often God has protected you without your knowledge. There are blessings you remember, but there are also blessings you never saw. Moments when God closed a door that would have led you in the wrong direction. Moments when He delayed something for your good. Moments when His protection quietly surrounded your life. One day, perhaps an eternity, you may discover countless examples of His faithfulness that remained hidden from view. Until then, faith allows us to trust that God is working even when we cannot see every detail. This trust creates peace. Not because we know everything, but because we know God. And knowing Him changes everything. The world often teaches people to depend entirely on themselves, to carry every burden, to control every outcome, to figure out every problem alone. Yet this way of living often leads to exhaustion. The human heart was never created to carry that much weight. God invites us into a better way. A life of trust. A life of dependence upon Him. A life where burdens are shared with the one who is strong enough to carry them. Imagine placing every concern into God's hands once again. The situations you cannot control. The questions you cannot answer. The fears you cannot resolve. The future you cannot predict. Place them all before Him. One by one. Slowly. Gently. Without rushing. As you do, notice how your heart begins to feel lighter. This is one of the gifts of surrender. Surrender is not giving up. It is placing your trust in God's wisdom rather than your own understanding. It is recognizing that His perspective is greater than yours. His knowledge is greater than yours. His power is greater than yours. And His love for you is beyond measure. The hillside remains peaceful. The crowd listens quietly. The atmosphere feels safe and comforting. You realize that many people spend their entire lives searching for the peace that comes from knowing God. Some search through achievements. Some search through possessions. Some search through endless distractions. Yet true peace is found in relationship with Him. A relationship built on trust. A relationship built on grace. A relationship built on love. Tonight, you are invited to rest in that relationship. To stop striving. To stop worrying. To stop carrying burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. Instead, rest in the knowledge that God is already at work. Even now. Even tonight. Even while you sleep. While your eyes are closed, God remains awake. While your body rests, God continues guiding your future. While your mind grows quiet, God continues watching over you. Nothing escapes His attention. Nothing exceeds His power. Nothing diminishes His love. As sleep slowly draws nearer, allow yourself to breathe deeply. Inhale peace. Exhale worry. Inhale trust. Exhale fear. Inhale hope. Exhale anxiety. Let each breath become a reminder that God is near. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not facing tomorrow alone. Jesus walks beside you. His presence surrounds you. His peace fills this moment. The stars above continue shining. The gentle breeze continues moving through the grass. The night remains calm. And your soul grows quieter with every passing moment. Perhaps tomorrow will bring new opportunities. Perhaps it will bring challenges. Perhaps it will bring answers you have been waiting for. Whatever tomorrow holds, God will already be there. His faithfulness will meet you in the morning. His mercy will greet you once again. His strength will be available when you need it. His wisdom will guide your steps. His love will never leave your side. For now, there is nothing you need to do except rest. Rest in His goodness. Rest in His promises. Rest in His unfailing love. Allow your body to relax completely. Allow your thoughts to become still. Allow your heart to settle into peace. Tonight, let Jesus speak calm into every anxious place within you. Let His presence bring comfort where there has been worry. Let His love bring healing where there has been hurt. Let His faithfulness bring confidence where there has been uncertainty. And as sleep gently takes hold, may you find deep rest in knowing that God is watching over you. You are loved. You are known. You are protected. You are cared for. Jesus is near. God is with you. And His peace will remain with you throughout the night. The night has become wonderfully quiet now. The hillside rests beneath a sky filled with stars, and the gentle breeze continues to move softly through the grass. Everything around you seems peaceful. Everything seems still. As you remain here, Listening to the comforting words of Jesus, allow yourself to become fully present in this moment. There is nowhere else you need to be. Nothing else you need to accomplish. No burden you need to carry for the next few hours. Tonight is a gift. A gift of rest. A gift of peace. A gift of remembering that God remains near. Sometimes fear enters our lives quietly. It does not always arrive through dramatic events. Sometimes it appears through small worries that slowly grow larger. A concern about tomorrow. A question without an answer. A situation beyond our control. A challenge that seems too large to overcome. Little by little, fear can begin occupying space that was never meant to belong to it. Perhaps you have experienced this. Perhaps there have been nights when your body felt tired, but your mind refused to rest. You closed your eyes, yet thoughts continued racing. You tried to relax, yet worries continued returning. You prayed, yet concerns still lingered. If you have experienced this, you are not alone. Many people know what it feels like to battle anxious thoughts. Many people understand what it means to carry concerns into the night. Yet tonight, Jesus gently invites you to release those fears into His hands. Not because your concerns are unimportant. Not because your struggles are insignificant. But because He loves you too much to watch you carry them alone. Imagine yourself standing beside a quiet stream flowing near the hillside. The water moves gently over smooth stones. The sound is peaceful. The moonlight reflects softly across its surface. In your hands, imagine holding every fear that has been troubling your heart. Perhaps it is fear about the future. Perhaps it is fear about finances. Perhaps it is fear about health. Perhaps it is fear about someone you love. Whatever it may be, picture yourself holding it carefully. Now imagine placing that fear into the flowing water. Watch as the current gently carries it away. Not because the situation instantly disappears, but because you are choosing to trust God with it. You are choosing faith instead of fear. You are choosing peace instead of anxiety. You are choosing surrender instead of control. This choice is not always easy. The human heart often wants certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know exactly what will happen next. But faith often grows strongest when certainty is absent. Faith grows when we trust God's character more than our circumstances. Faith grows when we remember His goodness. Faith grows when we choose to believe that His love remains constant. As you continue resting beneath the stars, think about how many times God has already carried you through difficult seasons. There were moments you thought would break you. Moments you believed you would never overcome. Moments that seemed impossible. Yet somehow you made it through. not because you were strong enough on your own, but because God's grace sustained you. His strength carried you. His mercy surrounded you. His faithfulness remained steady. The same God who carried you through those moments remains with you tonight. Nothing about your current situation changes His ability to help you. Nothing about your circumstances reduces His power. Nothing about your fears surprises Him. He knows. He understands. He cares. This is why Jesus repeatedly encouraged people not to live in fear. He knew that fear often steals peace long before any real problem arrives. Fear has a way of convincing us that we are alone. Fear tells us that everything depends on us. Fear whispers that disaster is waiting around every corner. But God's truth speaks differently. God reminds us that He is present. God reminds us that He is faithful. God reminds us that His plans are good. God reminds us that we never walk alone. Tonight, allow His truth to become louder than your fears. Allow His promises to become stronger than your worries. Allow His peace to become greater than your anxiety. As the stars shine quietly above, imagine Jesus walking gently among the people gathered on the hillside. He sees every face. He understands every story. He knows every burden. No one is overlooked. No one is forgotten. And neither are you. Sometimes we assume that God is focused only on major events. Yet Scripture repeatedly reveals a God who notices even the smallest details. A God who cares deeply about His children. A God who listens when they pray. A God who understands every concern. A God who remains close during every season of life. That same God is watching over you tonight. He knows the worries you have never spoken aloud. He knows the questions hidden deep within your heart. He knows the future you cannot yet see. And because He knows, you can trust Him. Trust does not mean understanding everything. Trust means believing that God remains good even when life feels uncertain. Trust means believing that His love does not change. Trust means believing that His presence remains near. As the night grows deeper, notice how your breathing becomes slower. Your shoulders relax. Your thoughts become quieter. Your heart feels lighter. This is what happens when we release control and embrace God's peace. The world teaches us to hold tightly. God teaches us to trust. The world teaches us to worry about tomorrow. God teaches us to rest today. The world teaches us to depend entirely on ourselves. God invites us to depend upon Him. There is freedom in that invitation. Freedom from constant pressure. Freedom from endless striving. Freedom from carrying burdens that were never ours to carry alone. As you continue listening, imagine the peaceful hillside growing even quieter. The stars remain bright. The breeze remains gentle. The atmosphere feels safe and calm. Jesus continues teaching. His words continue bringing comfort. His presence continues bringing peace. And slowly, fear begins losing its grip. Not because every question has been answered, but because your trust in God is becoming greater than your fear of the unknown. That is where true peace begins. Not in perfect circumstances, not in complete certainty, but in the presence of God. Tonight, allow that peace to settle deeply into your spirit. Allow every anxious thought to grow quiet. Allow every burden to become lighter. Allow every fear to be placed into God's hands. You do not need to carry them through the night. God is already holding them. As sleep slowly approaches, remember this simple truth. You are loved. You are protected. You are not alone. Jesus is near. God is watching over you. His peace surrounds you. His faithfulness remains constant. And no matter what tomorrow brings, His love will meet you there. For now, simply rest. Rest in His goodness. Rest in His promises. Rest in His presence. And let the peace of God gently carry you into a night of deep and refreshing sleep. The night continues to unfold with a quiet beauty. The stars remain scattered across the heavens, shining steadily above the peaceful hillside. The air feels cool and refreshing. Everything around you seems wrapped in calm. You remain seated among those listening to Jesus. There is no rush, no pressure, no need to hurry toward tomorrow. For this moment, you are simply resting in the presence of God. As you sit quietly, you begin to notice how often people carry invisible burdens. Many burdens cannot be seen from the outside. A person may smile while carrying deep sadness. A person may appear strong while feeling exhausted inside. A person may seem calm while privately wrestling with fear. God sees beyond appearances. He sees what others cannot see. He understands every hidden struggle. He knows every silent prayer. He knows every burden that has been resting upon your heart. This is one of the reasons His love brings such comfort. You never need to pretend before God. You never need to hide your fears. You never need to act stronger than you truly feel. He already knows. And He continues to love you completely. Imagine yourself looking across the hillside once more. The crowd has grown quieter. Some people sit with their eyes closed. Others gaze toward the stars. Some reflect upon the words they have heard. The atmosphere feels peaceful, safe, gentle. The kind of place where weary hearts can finally rest. As Jesus continues teaching, you begin thinking about the many things people fear losing. Some fear losing opportunities. Some fear losing relationships. Some fear losing stability. Some fear losing control. Yet one of the greatest lessons faith teaches is that our ultimate security is not found in temporary things. It is found in God. Everything in this world changes. Seasons change. Circumstances change. People change. Plans change. But God's character remains constant. His goodness remains constant. His love remains constant. His faithfulness remains constant. This truth becomes an anchor for the soul. An anchor that holds firm when life feels uncertain. An anchor that remains steady during storms. An anchor that continues holding even when emotions rise and fall. Tonight, perhaps God is inviting you to anchor your heart more deeply in His faithfulness. Not in circumstances. Not in predictions. Not in outcomes. But in Him. The more we learn to trust God's character, the less power fear has over us. Fear often grows when we focus only on what might happen. Faith grows when we remember who God is. Fear asks endless questions. Faith remembers God's promises. Fear imagines worst-case scenarios. Faith remembers God's faithfulness. Fear magnifies uncertainty. Faith magnifies God's presence. As these thoughts settle into your heart, notice how peaceful the night feels. The stars continue shining. The breeze continues moving gently through the grass. The hillside remains calm. And within that calm, your heart begins to experience a deeper sense of trust. You begin to realize that not every question needs an immediate answer. Not every problem needs an instant solution. Not every concern requires your constant attention. Some things can simply be placed into God's hands. Many people spend years carrying burdens they were never meant to carry. They attempt to control every outcome. They worry about every possibility. They rehearse every fear. Yet this often leads only to exhaustion. Jesus offers a different path. A path of trust. A path of surrender. A path of peace. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means recognizing that God is able to carry what you cannot. It means placing your confidence in His wisdom. It means believing that His plans are greater than your understanding. This kind of trust brings freedom. Freedom from constant anxiety. Freedom from endless striving. Freedom from carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. As you continue listening, imagine Jesus looking toward you with compassion. Not disappointment. Not frustration. compassion. The same compassion that welcomed weary people throughout his ministry. The same compassion that comforted those who were hurting. The same compassion that brought hope to those who felt lost. That compassion remains unchanged. Jesus understands every struggle you face. He understands every challenge. He understands every fear. He understands every disappointment. And he remains near. Perhaps there have been moments when you wondered whether God truly understood your situation. Moments when you felt alone. Moments when answers seemed distant. Moments when life felt overwhelming. Yet even in those moments, God never abandoned you. He remained present. Even when you could not feel him. Even when you could not see his hand. Even when you did not understand his timing. He remained faithful. Looking back, you may already see evidence of this. Times when he provided unexpectedly. Times when he strengthened you. Times when he guided your steps. Times when his mercy carried you through. These memories become reminders of his character. And his character never changes. The God who was faithful yesterday remains faithful tonight. The God who carried you before will carry you again. The God who guided you through previous seasons will continue guiding your future. As the night grows deeper, allow yourself to fully embrace that truth. You do not need to fear tomorrow. God will already be there. You do not need to fear uncertainty. God already knows the path ahead. You do not need to fear being alone. God remains with you. These truths may seem simple, yet they hold incredible power. They calm troubled hearts. They strengthen weary souls. They create peace in the middle of uncertainty. And tonight, they are meant for you. The hillside remains quiet. The stars continue shining. The voice of Jesus continues bringing comfort. And little by little, every anxious thought begins to fade. Every burden becomes lighter. Every fear loses strength. Not because circumstances have changed, but because your focus has shifted toward the one who never changes. God remains faithful. God remains present. God remains good. Take a slow breath. Feel your body relaxing. Feel your mind growing quiet. Feel your heart becoming peaceful. You are safe in God's care. You are surrounded by His love. You are held by His grace. As sleep slowly draws near, let every remaining worry rest in His hands. Let every concern be covered by His peace. Let every fear be replaced with trust. Tonight, rest in the confidence that Jesus is near. Rest in the certainty that God is watching over you. Rest in the assurance that His love will never leave you. And as you drift gently towards sleep, May your soul be filled with peace, hope, and the quiet comfort of knowing that you belong to Him. The night has become wonderfully still. The stars continue their silent journey across the heavens, and the peaceful hillside seems wrapped in a blanket of calm. The gentle breeze moves softly through the grass, carrying with it a sense of comfort that settles deep within your soul. You remain here, resting quietly, listening to the gentle teachings of Jesus. There is no need to rush. No need to think about tomorrow. No need to solve every problem before you sleep. This moment belongs to peace. This moment belongs to rest. This moment belongs to God. As you sit quietly beneath the night sky, you begin to realize how much energy people spend worrying about things they cannot control. It is a common part of being human. We worry about future conversations. We worry about upcoming decisions. We worry about outcomes we cannot predict. We worry about situations that have not even happened yet. Yet many of the things we fear never become reality. Many of the burdens we carry never needed to be carried at all. Fear often asks us to suffer twice. Once in our imagination, and again if the difficulty ever arrives. But Jesus invites us into a different way of living. A life rooted in trust. A life rooted in peace. A life rooted in the confidence that God is already caring for tomorrow. As these thoughts settle into your heart, imagine looking up at the vast sky above. The stars seem endless. The universe feels enormous. And yet the God who created every star knows your name. The God who placed every galaxy in its place knows your story. The God who holds the universe together cares deeply about your life. Sometimes people feel small when they think about the vastness of creation. Yet Scripture reminds us of something beautiful. The Creator of all things knows you personally. He knows your hopes. He knows your struggles. He knows your dreams. He knows your fears. Nothing about your life is hidden from Him. Nothing about your journey escapes His attention. This truth becomes a source of incredible comfort. Because if God knows everything about you and still loves you completely, then there is nothing you need to hide. You can come to Him exactly as you are. With your questions. With your concerns. With your hopes. With your weaknesses. With your faith. And even with your doubts. His love remains steady. As you continue resting on the hillside, imagine Jesus speaking to those gathered around Him. His voice is calm. His words are gentle. His presence creates peace. People who arrived carrying burdens begin feeling lighter. People who arrived feeling afraid begin finding courage. People who arrived exhausted begin discovering rest. This is what happens when hearts encounter the peace of God. Not every circumstance changes immediately, but something within begins to change. Fear loosens its grip. Hope begins to grow. Faith becomes stronger. Peace starts taking root. Perhaps tonight God is doing that very work within your heart. Perhaps He is gently replacing fear with trust. Perhaps He is replacing anxiety with peace. Perhaps He is reminding you that you do not need to face life alone. There is tremendous freedom in knowing that God's love is not based on your ability to hold everything together. Many people believe they must always be strong, always have the answers, always know what to do. But God never asks for perfection. He asks for trust. He asks for faith. He asks for a willing heart. And when we bring Him our weakness, He provides strength. When we bring Him our worries, He provides peace. When we bring Him our fears, He provides comfort. That is the beauty of God's grace. As the peaceful night continues, think about how many times God's grace has already appeared throughout your life. There were moments when you needed wisdom. He guided you. There were moments when you needed strength. He sustained you. There were moments when you needed comfort. He drew near. There were moments when you needed hope. He reminded you that your story was not over. Looking back, you can see that His goodness has followed you through every season. Not every season was easy. Not every chapter was pleasant. But through it all, God remained faithful. The same will be true tomorrow. No matter what challenges await. No matter what opportunities arise. No matter what questions remain unanswered. God's faithfulness will continue. His love will continue. His mercy will continue. As these truths settle into your spirit, notice how much quieter your mind has become. The worries that once seemed overwhelming now feel smaller. The fears that once demanded attention have begun to lose their power. Your heart feels lighter. Your breathing feels slower. Your body feels more relaxed. This is the gift of trusting God. Trust does not remove every challenge. Trust changes how we face those challenges. Trust allows us to rest while God works. Trust allows us to sleep while God watches over us. Trust allows us to release burdens that were never ours to carry alone. The hillside remains peaceful. The stars continue shining. The gentle breeze continues moving through the grass. Everything around you reflects the quiet faithfulness of God. Creation itself seems to whisper a simple truth. God is here. God is near. God is faithful. Tonight, allow that truth to settle deeply into every part of your being. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not alone. Jesus walks beside you. His peace surrounds you. His love holds you, and His presence remains with you. As sleep draws closer, imagine yourself resting completely in God's care. Like a child sleeping peacefully without fear. Like a traveler finding safety after a long journey. Like a weary soul finally discovering true rest. You do not need to worry about tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow belongs to God. The future belongs to God. Your life belongs to God. And His hands are trustworthy. His heart is loving. His plans are good. Take one more slow breath. Let peace fill your heart. Let gratitude fill your mind. Let hope fill your spirit. The night is quiet. The stars are shining. Jesus is near. God is watching over you. And as your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts become still, may you rest deeply in the assurance that you are loved beyond measure. Sleep peacefully, dear friend. Sleep in the goodness of God. Sleep in the faithfulness of God. Sleep in the presence of Jesus. And may His perfect peace remain with you throughout the entire night.